This week in Jamaica Now, Police Constable Collis Chucky Brown sentenced to life in prison on 3 murder convictions. He's to serve 51 years before he becomes eligible for parole.
That's not my sister, me want my sister!
Wrong body delivered at a Manchester church for funeral. The right one was earlier cremated. 7-year-old girl dies from dengue fever after a doctor prescribed treatment for a bladder infection. A nurse charged after impregnating a disabled patient. Buju Banton is no Mandela. Critics lash the convicted reggae artist. 50 deportees coming from England. And
You're gonna be uncomfortable. You have to relax though. They're on their way.
a deadly crash in Spur Tree, Manchester. Speeding was a factor. I'm Damian Mitchell and this is Jamaica Now. Police Constable Collis Chucky Brown has been sentenced to life in prison on 3 counts of murder and a wounding with intent conviction and must serve 51 years in prison before he becomes eligible for parole. Brown was sentenced in the Home Circuit Court on Friday afternoon. In passing sentence, Justice Vivian Harris said Brown committed actions of moral turpitude. On November 15, 2018, Brown was found guilty of the 2009 murder of Damoy Gotti Dawkins and the December 2012 killings of Dwayne Douglas and Andre Ferron. Brown, who is now 42 years old, may not be released from prison until he is 93 years old. A Manchester family is threatening legal action against the Calvary Funeral Home after a grave error resulted in the wrong body being taken to the Maranatha Seventh-day Adventist Church in Manchester for a funeral on Sunday.
It's not my sister body that, because number one, my sister head bad, and it's the lady were in the coffin. Female no bad, her head have an ear pony. It's not my sister that, can me know say no my sister, because when she get me sick, when she dead.
Did they admit that it's the wrong body?
Them never want to open the coffin, make we see. That is number one. And when they carry go to the grave, them no want to open it either way. If you beg them to open it.
Crystal Smith, the daughter-in-law of the deceased, Sandra Roan, said the situation worsened when the family learned that Roan's body had been earlier cremated at Michael's Mortuary on North Street in downtown Kingston, where it was being stored. Checks made by the Gleaner revealed that Calvary is not a licensed funeral home, but provides services from its Williamsfield outfit in Manchester. Both Calvary and Michael's Mortuary have declined to speak about the matter. In the meantime, Smith said the mortuary operators told the family they could only offer a refund. She also said that the owner of the funeral home explained that the mix-up happened because both bodies had the same first name and both had one breast amputated. A St. Catherine couple is in anguish following the death of their 7-year-old daughter from dengue fever. They say Jericho primary student Aliyah Graham might have been alive if a private doctor had not incorrectly diagnosed her as suffering from a bladder infection. Aliyah died last week Wednesday from dengue fever-related complications after experiencing high fever and pain in the area of her abdomen. Her 3-year-old sister, who was also diagnosed with dengue fever, recovered after receiving treatment at the Spanish Town Hospital. Her mother, Janika Martin, told the Gleaner that the family felt damaged by Aliyah's death. In the United States, a 36-year-old nurse has been arrested and charged after DNA evidence concluded that he was the father of a child born to a patient who had been in a vegetative state. Nathan Sutherland, a licensed practical nurse in Phoenix, Arizona, has been charged with sexually assaulting an incapacitated woman. The woman gave birth last month at a long-term health care facility. Sutherland was one of the woman's caregivers. The 29-year-old victim has been incapacitated since the age of 3 and gave birth at the facility on December 29. Employees said they had no idea she was pregnant. Jamaican historian and Garvey scholar Professor Rupert Lewis has slammed ex-drug convict and reggae artist Buju Banton and his publicity team for seeking to equate the entertainer's release from prison to that of former South African President Nelson Mandela. The Grammy-winning singer was last year released from U.S. prison after serving 7 years on a drug conviction. He will be the headline act of his Long Walk to Freedom concert in March. The name of the concert is also the title of Nelson Mandela's autobiography. Professor Lewis said it is unfortunate. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton said he was disappointed that the messaging surrounding Buju's concert does not involve the lessons learned along the way and a cry for Jamaicans to put down drugs. But retired Professor of Literary and Cultural Studies Caroline Cooper said the concert is an occasion for celebration and not for preaching about the dangers of drug use. 50 Jamaicans are to be deported from the United Kingdom on February 6. The deportees were convicted on a range of offenses. Jamaican officials have revealed that the deportees will arrive aboard a special chartered flight accompanied by 190 security personnel. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the police have been alerted. As is standard procedure, the deportees will be taken to a facility for processing where the police will determine whether they have an interest in further investigations. Police investigators say speeding was a major factor in the deadly early morning crash along the Spur Tree main road in Manchester near the Swabies Hope intersection on Wednesday. 26-year-old Adrian Wilson of Hatfield, Manchester, and 19-year-old Jamel Cox of Lincoln, also in Manchester, died from injuries they sustained after Wilson's Toyota Mark X crashed into a utility pole. Wilson had just overtaken a car when he lost control of the vehicle and slammed into the pole. A video showed Cox begging for help to release her trapped leg from the mangled car.
You're gonna be uncomfortable. You have to relax though. They're on their way.
Don't move up your foot. Try to go on.
However, it reportedly took more than an hour before she was cut from the wreckage by emergency responders. And that's it for this edition of Jamaica Now, your weekly review of the big news stories. Send us your comments at onlinefeedback@gleanerjm.com. You may tune in to Power 106 FM for regular updates. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jamaica Gleaner and on Facebook at Gleaner Jamaica. I'm Damian Mitchell, and before we go, the Caribbean Maritime University partners with the Jamaica Olympic Association to send a cheerleading team to the next Olympics.
Why are we here this morning? Jamaica is seeking to compete in the Olympics in cheerleading, and the CMU is poised to lead this charge.
And as we look towards the future, the JOA and CMU, a future of unity and comity among peoples of the world, sport plays an indispensable role. Sport is played on the national turf, but belongs to a global village.
I stand proud in front of the audience today. The students, they touch my heart in such a way I cannot explain in words, so I use actions.